Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Doc and Queenie classes. Once a month, I do believe it's the fourth Wednesday of the month at. Hey there, Queenie, how are you?
Hey, oh my gosh, Doc, seriously, how did it get to be the fourth Wednesday already?
Didn't we just do our last class last week?
It feels like yesterday, as
Crazy.
a matter of fact. I know. Fourth Wednesday gets here before you know it, but we are so thrilled to have everyone join us, certainly live or on the replay. Class time was born because we were hearing so many people say, how do you guys know how to do all that stuff? So and of course, I always laugh when I say I follow Doc around.
Well, and it's funny because I say I follow Queenie, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it's so much fun. And thank you. Please keep the questions coming because we definitely learn from you guys.
Yes, definitely. So what are we talking about today, Queenie?
Well, I have found when I do my online virtual travels that many people are using Zoom. And then when all of a sudden I say, did you make that person a co-host? Or they always say, how did you get that background? Or all of those different things that we talk about. And I feel that it's second nature. And for these folks, it is not second nature. So we're going to talk about the dynamicism of how cool Zoom is.
Sounds cool. I'm
Um,
excited.
when you do your training and your videos, Doc, do you use Zoom or Canva or what?
Yes, I
Okay.
kind of mix it all together.
Okay. Good.
I
I
do,
just found us. That's good.
I do Zoom sometimes for filler as far as like filler backgrounds and stuff,
Okay.
or
Yes.
if I've missed something on my videos, and I even use Zoom, I will separate it and just take the audio from the Zoom that I've recorded. So because it downloads as a video and as an audio. So I use it a lot.
And I appreciate that for real because it's back to that same drill. People are, first of all, always watching, but second of all, when you change it up a little, they go, how did you do that? And so that's the piece for me that's always interesting. So I appreciate that. Once again, we thank you all for joining us today on Doc and Queenie classes. The good news is this is recorded, so it'll be on our YouTube channels, of course, but the rest of the story is when you don't know something, that's what we love to learn. So feel free in the comment section if you'd like for anything to be reiterated and or something that you didn't know how to do. I wrote a whole bunch of notes just because I didn't want to miss anything. But the bottom line is, Doc, I don't know about you, but as soon as I learn something, they change it. And that's always a biggie for me. So I didn't know if that affects you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That's what I
It's
mean.
constant. It's constant and it's gotten worse. Like in the past month, there have been like this many changes.
I agree with that. And that's always interesting for me because I'm just like, what just happened? So, but anyway, we're going to start not necessarily from the beginning, and we're going to screen share part of it. But for the most part, my thing, and regardless of what platform we're on, is push buttons. And so don't forget to push buttons. So right here, when you open up your own Zoom account, one of the coolest things I think to find, first of all, always make sure that when you're on a call with someone else, even if it's a group of 100 or 500 or whatever you do, or just two people, make sure that you make the other person a co-host. And the reason for that is, and this just happened a second ago in one of my alignable groups, the host of the call lost connectivity. He's traveling and he literally lost the call. Now, the good news is he was still on, but he was, you couldn't see him, you couldn't hear him, you couldn't nothing, but he could still hear us. So he was off the call. And so if you make someone a co-host, that keeps the call going, even if you lose connectivity. So how do you do that? On the top of everyone's Brady Bunch square is always the three dots. So hover your mouse around and click on the three dots. And so as soon as you do, it says make co-host. Now, some people have said to me, no, 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 mine doesn't say make co-host. Why is that? Because on your Zoom settings, and I'll see if I can find that even while I'm on here, on your Zoom settings, when you're in your own Zoom account, okay, you click on the word Zoom and it'll take you to your account. And one of my favorite things to do is Zoom settings. And that's the part that I always find to be interesting. Now, you'll notice, quite frankly, you'll notice all the different tabs. If you haven't pushed everything that is on Zoom, including here, you've got AI, which is kind of fun. As soon as you literally click on my account, you can go into so many different places. Okay. So many different places. You see that you can add a profile picture, you can add meetings, home, and then the biggie for me is always settings. As soon as you click on settings, and please remember, push every button out there. And the reason I always say that is, as I said, as soon as we learn something, we have to unlearn it, because just like Doc mentioned, they change things constantly. And so now you're going to be, and what I usually do, I don't type the search bar at the top. I type the search bar right here, and I type in co-host. Okay. Oh, good job. No settings found. Because I already have it on there. But let's see what it says. Still nothing. Okay, that's
I was
great.
gonna say they've changed it.
That's why I just instantly. And now that what I'm thinking, I always do the search bar though, because it has helped me so much. Let's see if I do general. My goodness. All right, that's awesome. So the bottom line is we're through with classes now. Bye-bye.
Okay.
So please remember, as I have mentioned before, to push buttons, how to make someone a co-host. And quite frankly, for me, I go to YouTube for everything, and I really do. And then it walks me through how to get it from here. But the video settings are important. How to make a video itself is important. The privacy, every single thing that you need is on the left side of the navigation bar. And all of a sudden you want to go to Zoom, you want feedback, you want to create a poll. You can do anything you want from the screen share part. And that really is on the left-hand side. All of these documents, all of these different things for information are huge, and they really are. So please remember, don't be afraid to push buttons. As we just found, when you do a search, it's interesting. So I probably have to do a search at the way top, but I don't want that much information. But please remember, push buttons, change your profile, schedule a call. What do you want to know about your plan? That's always kind of cool. The meetings that you've got coming up are listed. So all you have to do is click start when you're ready. Your profile picture, please remember, when you turn your screen off, that is always a biggie. So you want to make sure that your profile picture looks like you and that your name resonates with people. So please consider that as well. In our case, the Doc and Queenie part is certainly always interesting also. So let's think about that for a second. Now, one of the things that I also wanted to share while we're on this call, people have seen this background right here that I have as far as the TV pictures. Doc, when we did this, just to make the profile picture for one of our, I think we were actually doing a video on let's talk about class time. And all of a sudden the TV thing came up. I thought this would be super fun. So down at the bottom of your screen, when you want to do a video or a profile or something, first of all, you can always make your background. And I know you go to Canva a lot. I do Canva and PowerPoint almost interchangeably. And then I make a new background. And then I multiply it, like several of them on the screen, by using the Instagram layout. So there's so many things you can do. If you don't remember any of this, don't panic, because first of all, again, it's recorded. But second of all, you can always push a button, go to YouTube, how do I this, how do I that? And you'll probably find Doc, which is probably the coolest part. So down at the bottom of your screen where it says stop video, all of those navigation bars at the bottom of your screen, push the buttons and see what they have. It's very cool, but it changes by the second. Click that little triangle thing that's right next to the stop video. And as soon as you do, it says choose video filter. Okay, choose video filter. So as soon as you click TV, look what just happened. And so now you've got a TV. Thank you. And look at that. And so now you've got a TV. I love that. Now you've got a stage. You just disappeared. So I get that. Push the buttons on the filter. It changes the look of your call, especially if several people are doing it. It's super fun. I have used this one before during my training just because, once again, it changes the look of your call. Now, obviously, people do, shall we say, distractions, if you will. But the good news is it keeps the group fun. You're celebrating somebody's graduation. So congratulate them. You're talking about someone who's actually leaving for Paris next week. How about a beret? I think it's super fun for people to be able to see some of the cool things. Doc is incognito right now. That is pretty cool to be able to have so much interaction, if you will, on a call. And for me, it's a matter, and this is one of the ones that I love a lot, actually, when people do not advertise or they don't want their photo on social media, I always say, don't put your business in the witness protection program. If you want to be out there and branding and YouTubing and all the cool stuff that Doc does, we can't leave ourselves in the witness protection program. So be sure and push buttons, and don't forget to push buttons. I love it when I look this cool, Doc. And I want to be you when I grow up, by the way.
I'm speechless, Queenie.
Yeah. I know. But it really is just an opportunity. Zoom has thought of everything just from and think about if you're going to do a picture that way with your team or your group. So please remember about the filter part and be able to have a different filter, a different background. I usually put pearls on just because I like the borders once I've created my Zoom background. And it is just a different way for the call to make people a little more engaged. Now that we're back on the Zoom screen, okay, you're back on the Zoom screen and you're on a call. Doc is usually, if she's teaching a webinar and all of a sudden you want, oh my gosh, you need to be on here. Doc's amazing. And she's going to teach us about the gardening and compatible growing. I need to invite more people. How do I do that? So at the top left of any Zoom call, and unless it's blocked for some reason, but it's usually not, is that little green circly shield thing. First of all, it tells you where you are, and that is always a good fit for me because with all the Zooms that I do, I really don't know where I am half the time, but it tells you the name of the call. You're having a one-on-one with someone. In this case, it says Doc and Queenie classes, who the host is, and then what? There's a teensy little hyperlink, usually a different color, green or blue, and you click on that copy link, and now you text it to someone, or you email it to someone. Okay. Or you LinkedIn message it to someone. So now you can actually invite people to Doc's webinar. You can actually invite people to Doc and Queenie classes. You can actually invite people from the copy link. Now that literally, they open it when they're ready. There's another way to do an invite. I don't know if you've gotten a lot of these recently, Doc, but you all of a sudden get a bring, bring on your computer because someone invites you to a call. You don't know what it is. It just says Kathy Weaver invited you to a call, and you hop on the call and Doc is teaching gardening. How do you do that? Down at the bottom of your screen where it says participants, and again, there is a little triangle thing, and you click invite. You can either do the copy invite link, which is great, but you can also do invite. Depending upon how you've got your computer configured, the folks that are online, as in their computers are open and they're ready to go, the folks that are online are green. And if they're green, you click on invite and they get that bring, and it's quite mine at least is very, very annoying, and you can't possibly work without denying it or whatever you're going to do. The challenge I find with that is it doesn't necessarily say who's hosting or what kind of call it is, but you figure Doc, Laura Christine invited you to a call, like I'm ever going to say no to that. So I hop on. So do be careful if you're inviting your friends or your colleagues or certainly your team to an event, that it really is something that they would want to be on if they were choosing. And it's nice for a reminder. I don't know about you, Doc, but every time I open my calendar, I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? But as soon as I do that, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to invite Susie or Billy or Joey or whoever that is. So there's all kinds of ways you can invite people. When you invite someone, Doc, do you do the event page or do you actually do it from Zoom? How do you get people to all your events?
I usually do an event page.
Okay.
And then also through email through I've got people
okay.
that have subscribed. So I kind of do both.
Do you put your Zoom event link in the email or do you make them go somewhere different for that?
A lot of times I'll put the link on there.
Okay. I just think the easier we make it, the better it is, because then
people get distracted and won't, if they have to work for it, they're not going to show up. That's my opinion.
I have found that as well. Absolutely. But like I say, there are so many buttons on these pages that I find it to be, first of all, yes, fun, but second of all, Making a co-host is a biggie. And sometimes people say, my account only lets me make a host. Well, you probably don't want to give up that right, so to speak. But I promise, I don't know where the new system will find it because I've already done mine to make it co-host worthy. But go to YouTube, how to make a co-host on my Zoom account, and it'll walk you through it. I want you to be able to see that from a standpoint of losing connectivity. Now, what happens if I want to spotlight my co-host? That's the part for me that is super fun. Okay. Please remember, and don't hesitate to do this. When you are on a call with someone and you want to spotlight them, you've got 10, well, even 5-ish people on your call. You click on those magic 3 dots again and hit make spotlight. And then that means the person is on the call by themselves. That's pretty cool. And so you're able to now make spotlight. And that's the part that I think is a blast, because then you're going to add spotlight. So you're going to have Susie and Billy and Joey come up on stage, so to speak. And now they are literally going to be your 3 featured speakers. Or Susie, did you have a question? And you pull Susie up to the front. And so please consider that if you haven't already. Doc, when you have a guest of your webinars ask a question, do you put them on Spotlight or do you leave them in the group?
A lot of times I'll leave them in the group.
Okay.
Occasionally I'll do a spotlight, but a lot of times I just leave them in the group.
Okay. And the reason I have found for the Spotlight feature thing, I like to be consistent, first of all, but if they have their camera off for some reason, you can't make them a Spotlight. And so that's why I have always been cognizant of the fact that some people during a Zoom call, for some reason, I don't usually turn my camera off unless I absolutely have to. I had to go sign for a FedEx package the other day, and everybody goes, "Where'd she go? Is everything okay?" Because I don't ever do that. Other people never turn their cameras on. So when you go to a call and your camera's off, that's how they usually see you. I hardly ever turn mine off, and I literally had to go sign for a package. And so I turned my is she okay? What's happening? Oh my gosh. So it really is funny that people get to know you a certain way.
Well, and that kind of, when you have your camera off, that kind of tells people that you're really not interested. It's almost like my thought process is, why bother showing up? And
I
if
agree with that.
you're trying to network for your business, you've kind of shot yourself in the foot.
No, I agree with that completely. And plus, it's the engagement thing. It's kind of like when people say, honey, all that networking you do, you can't build relationships on a screen. And I always say, oh my gosh, tell me about that. And by the time we're finished with that chat, of course, we've made a relationship. So they go, maybe you can. And I'm like, well, it has worked great for me for 3.5 years. So I like building relationships even on a screen. Plus, like I say, Zoom has made it so fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I know you do your water workshop on Zoom.
Absolutely, I do.
And a lot of times you do the share screen, and you know you've got your slides and all that. Could you walk us through doing the slides, how to set up, like a slide or even the whiteboard piece?
Absolutely. Down at the bottom when you hit share screen, and for me, you can either, as soon as you open your account, basic clicks on whiteboard. I'll just do that right now so you can see it. So all of a sudden you've got a whiteboard and you want to draw. Well, I know better than to think I'm going to type anything, as far as my handwriting would be atrocious. So I would click the text part and talk about it this way. Okay. And so now everyone can see the whiteboard, and you can add slides or whatever you want. I prefer to do my slides a different way, and I'll show you that in a second. But as soon as you click text, all the navigation bars are on the left-hand side, and you can literally allow anything you want from a standpoint of, I just hit the trash button, so it now cleared all drawings. So now I'm actually going to draw, just because I'm nervous, and I'm going to draw. Okay.
Wow,
so
that's
I
fantastic, Queenie.
I knew you'd be proud of me, Doc,
I'm really
because
impressed.
I'm so creative. But now
You are.
yeah, yeah. And now you can actually hit draw. So needless to say, I'm going to trash that. But the good news is push buttons, and please don't forget to push buttons, because the computer really, really, really has just about everything figured out, so to speak. Now I'm going to stop share so that we can come back, and I'm going to show you, I think, what you're talking about as far as the PowerPoint piece. I love, whether you're doing a recording, like let's say you're training your team and you've got 10, 20, 50, 100 people on your call, but Susie and Billy and Joey were not available. Well, you probably want to record that call And in my case, I upload it to my YouTube channel because then it's easy to, the file's not too large kind of thing as far as the compression piece. But now I'm able to share that with other people. And I want them to be able to see the training and the slides and the techniques of how to use these dynamic water machines. So I'm okay with that. So let's go now to share screen. And I'm going to walk you through this so you can't see my screen because I'm going to be on it. But this time, all right, as soon as you open share screen, I want you to click advanced. As soon as you hit share screen, I want you to click advanced. And this time for me, I use PowerPoint for just about everything. And so it's always a biggie for me as far as it just works the best. But as soon as you click advanced and you open up a call, in this particular case, as you can see, one of my courses is what personality type goes to what platform. But you'll notice my precious little face is now on the screen, on the slide. Okay. Doc and I are still at the top as hosts of the call, but now within my PowerPoint, I am actually on the screen. So it's kind of like where's Weaver, where's Waldo kind of deal. But the good news is, first of all, your team will want to see this and how to do it. But more importantly, what I have found, especially if you're doing calls at night, I don't know if you do most of yours during the early, well, you get up early, but for me, if I wait until night, they're all sleeping. So I've got to do something to get people excited, and putting myself on the screen again, where's Waldo, where's Weaver, keeps them a little more engaged. And of course, most of the time they're not paying attention to the slides. They want to know, how did I do that? And so advanced, click PowerPoint. And then as soon as you click PowerPoint, it'll say, which one of your presentations do you want? Because I trained on a lot of different stuff. And so as soon as I do open it, now I'm automatically on the screen. So it really is pretty cool. And I do love that part. Now
I think it's, I was going to say, I think it's fantastic to have those tools. You know, and I'm going to, with my interaction with you with the water workshop, you know, because I'm a visual learner too. So anytime you put up stuff, which you do quite often, you know, I always tell people when we go to the water workshop, I always go because I always learn something, but it's great to have those tools. And even like you know, you're floating around there, it adds a little interest to it. Like you say, keep the people at night awake.
I know, absolutely. And that's why your webinars that you do are eclectic, because you show us the gardening pieces and then the YouTube videos. So let's think about how to share sound on a YouTube video. Okay. This is one of the pieces that I have found that people skip or something, and then all of a sudden you're showing this fantastic video and no one can hear it. And the reason for that is your computer's on, everything's great, but you didn't share sound. Okay. And so I'm going to open up my YouTube channel right now. And you can open anything, the video, the website to your company, the video to your training, whatever you want to open. But now I'm going to open up my YouTube channel. Okay. And you can do this for anything that has audio. At the very top, and again, I can't show it to you because you can't even see it on this call. At the very top of your screen where it says the share screen navigation bar, at the very far right is 3 dots and it says more. And toward the bottom, it says share sound. So all you have to do is click it. Doesn't matter if your computer's on, your microphone's on, your speaker's on, all of that is irrelevant. You have to share sound from your share screen tab, or you won't be able to hear it. Okay. Now, when you click on a video now, hello, my friends, you have found Kathy Weaver KCTV. Wow. I know, seriously, let's hear me in stereo. But the rest of the story is now your call, your attendees can hear that because you did a share sound. So now you want to play a video from your company. Let's find out, honestly. In fact, we're going to do this to put you on the spot, Doc.
Great.
Because, yeah. But now that I've done the share sound thing, Kitchen Garden Expert, in my case, of course, comes right to the top. So now I'm going to go to Doc's page. And of course, we're going to hit her shorts because they're amazing. And now, since I've done the share sound piece, I can actually click on Doc's video.
Here's your 15-second list of what you can plant in late June and July. Bush beans, beets, carrots, cucumbers, cabbage, eggplant, muskmelon, okra and potatoes, pumpkins and summer squash, tomatillo. Here's your
All right. So once again, obviously it's going to make us hungry.
Summer gardening habits. Number 1.
Okay. But you see, if we didn't share sound, when we're teaching a class, they would be able to see the screen, but they would not be able to hear our message. And so please remember, when you click share screen, and then you're getting ready to stop share, when you say, where's the navigation bar you keep talking about? Click on stop share, because sometimes it hides itself so you'll have more room on the page. Where the stop share is, right above that is a black bar, and it on the far right 3 dots, and it says more. And that's where you need to do the share sound. I think it's the coolest thing ever. And especially with your shorts, Doc, I know that you cross-pollinate, as we call it, and you've been putting your gardening items on Instagram and TikTok, as well as your YouTube channel. So you are definitely cross-pollinating in a large way.
Yes, and Zoom helps with those, sometimes the shorts, or actually I use it more often for the longer videos, but
Okay.
I mean, it gives me an option because I use video editors and all that kind of stuff. But it's like you say, it's phenomenal. Zoom is phenomenal to even just, record, put captions, pull the audio. It's just, it's a great platform. I love it.
I do. I love it as well. Now, I don't know if it'll show on this screen, but I just moved our pictures around. And what I mean by that is we're getting ready to do a picture. And so Doc is on the right side, I'm on the left side, or vice versa. All you do to move people around, and again, if you've got 49 people on your slide, on your actual screen, which is the maximum so far that Zoom will hold, by the way, then you want to always click settings and always click more and always click 3 dots. But you can literally drag your mouse and change the location of the people on your screen. And I don't think it shows for other people. Like, you can't tell I moved us, can you? Right. And so I moved us for me so that I could see it, but you can't, it doesn't change anything. So when you're the one taking the picture, you can move your team around, your leaders around. If you're not going to do a spotlight because you want everyone to be equal on the thumbnails, then you want to move people around so you can have your leadership team on the top, your vice presidents on the second page, your board of directors, second line, etc. So you can drag and drop with the mouse and then take the picture, and it really is cool. Now, one thing, if you've got a call with a lot of people, this is something I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. When people pop on a call, usually you hear ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, and everybody's on, then somebody has to hop off, then somebody this, and somebody else hops on, and you constantly hear that sound. First of all, it's distracting, but second of all, for the trainer, you don't know what the people heard because the ding dong caused you to cut out. So how to change the sound off? The good news is you can do it even when you're already on your call. You don't have to do this in the settings thing initially. At the bottom of every screen, you click on participants, okay? Just open up As soon as you open up participants, it opens up a big white box. And at the bottom, depending upon what version of Zoom you have, are the magic 3 dots. And you guys know how much I love the magic 3 dots and the magic pencil. So click on the 3 dots, and what does it say? Whole bunch of stuff, as they say. You can mute participants upon entry, which means they won't come in talking or background noise from them. You can allow participants to unmute themselves, which I always do because I want people to interact and talk. Allow them to rename themselves, absolutely, in case you were a kitchen garden expert over here and now you're Doc, so you can rename yourself. But then the biggie says play sound when someone joins or leaves. If that is checked, there are some people who want to know when someone hops on. There are some people who want to know when someone leaves. But again, if you've got a call with 50 or 100 or 500 people on it and ding dong, ding dong, ding dong constantly, it's nothing but distractions for the other people. The host and the co-host can change that, but the attendees cannot. So if they find it distracting, you just lost them from a standpoint of paying attention. All you have to do is uncheck it, which means click it, and now it won't play the sound. Wait a minute, how do I know when someone comes onto my call? Leave the participant box open, and you can see when someone hops in, because the ones who have not been assigned to a room yet will be at the top. So please remember, there's so many cool things on Zoom, and they make it as easy for us as possible. So I turn off the sound.
What does the lock meeting on that list mean?
If someone has gotten the link from someone, or you just sent it to Susie and Billy and Joey because you want them to be on your gardening webinar, and you or your co-host has locked the meeting, then all of a sudden no one can get in. They won't even be in the waiting room. And so it'll just say meeting ended or meeting not available, etc. And it's super important, especially if you are doing a one-on-one consultation with the client that is not for public viewing. You don't want anybody around. This is just the two of you. You won't be distracted by the waiting. Susie's in the waiting room. You won't be distracted by those messages. Lock meeting, nobody else gets in. Now, I have been on webinars. I know you don't do this, Doc. I have been on webinars before. The meeting host usually states ahead, we are closing down at 12:02, which means locked. And if you're not there by 12:02, you ain't to coming in. And so I'm always like, oh my gosh, of all days for all my one-on-ones to run over, and then you've got 2 or 3 minutes and blah, 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 and please help me get more coffee. She means 2, and you cannot get in that call. And so it just depends on how strict you are, or if you've got privacy issues as far as a one-on-one with your client kind of thing. But the lock meeting part keeps other people from being allowed in at all.
And then I have another question. There's another line below that that says merged meeting window. What does that mean?
Merged meeting window. Now, isn't that an interesting thing? All of a sudden, you've got several people in the waiting room and you want to see that. You want to see who's in there. The merge meeting window for me is going to be pulling several meetings together. That's not a good fit for me, because for me, it's kind of like a conference call or a 3-way call. I don't want that. And so the merge meeting window part for me, instead of being able to have the view as we do as far as the gallery part, merge meeting window, that is, I'm never pushing that. Let's just say I don't want that. And so for me, that is a biggie. I love the option, I will say. But I don't want several of the screens on the meetings merged together, because for me, it's distracting.
Okay.
Do you ever use that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, because I really don't want that. Let's go to something fun, since we've talked about the security pieces a little bit. And speaking of security, you can always put someone in a waiting room if they're distracting, or you can turn off their video as a host or a co-host, which is why it's always nice on a large call to have a co-host, because over here, Susie's eating, or somebody just took a call, or worse than that. And so you want to turn off their video for their sake and to respect their privacy, so to speak, if they're completely oblivious to the fact that they're on a Zoom call. But the rest of the story is just click the 3 dots and it'll say stop video for that person, or mute them, certainly, if they're being disruptive to the whole call, or you can actually put them in a waiting room. And what that means, they'll know they're in a waiting room, which means they are no longer on the call live. And the rest of that story is they have to ask permission to be put back in. Will you admit me to the main room? And that's up to you if you choose to do that. And so the rest of the story for me is there's a lot of control with those magic 3 dots as the host or the co-host. But quite frankly, on a call with even 49 people on the screen, or 2 or 3 pages of 49, as a host, especially if you're presenting, you can't possibly run it all. So relinquish control a little bit and make someone, I usually have about 5 people as co-hosts, because there's no possible way, especially if we're all there to learn, there's no possible way that one person could manage 200 or 300 people. This person's talking, this person's eating, this person's taking a call, this person's worse. And so it's nice to be able to have co-leaders in your group.
So I am curious, while I'm asking questions, about the AI companion button.
Okay. For me, the AI companion, all of a sudden, I want the meeting recorded. I want the transcript sent to my inbox. I want the opportunity, as soon as the meeting closes, I want to have every single piece of the meeting in my transcript area. And if you choose to do that, that's great. For me, it's not a good fit. I want live interaction always. A lot of times when you're on a call, you see Kathy's note taker popped in to come on the call. Well, first of all, that takes up a box and it distracts the picture, in my opinion. And second of all, I want interaction. Yeah, I just did a posting party earlier today, actually, and a couple people had their note takers come in. No, I appreciate your AI companion. I appreciate the fact that you want the transcript of the posting party yourself because you weren't there. But the bottom line for me is I'd rather have live interaction. So the AI companion is great because it does serve a purpose. And a lot of times on my training calls, I record the transcript myself and then send it to my team who couldn't be there. Can you please tell me one more time about the water machine and the something and the this and the that? Of course. So I either look at the transcript and highlight, copy, paste, and send them that piece of the transcript, or I send them the whole thing if they were unable to make any of the meeting and it was all pertinent to some of the things they didn't know yet. Do you use AI companion for your gardening company, Doc?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, because I much prefer live and certainly the interaction piece.
Yes, I do too.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Zoom as far as the backgrounds. You'll notice Doc and I, for the Doc and Queenie Monday live, actually, we always have a background of some kind. I literally was just on a call on Alignable, actually, and I've got a XSplit VCam opportunity so that I always have my background up even on that platform, which is not Zoom. And I always have my water drop and my books and my final footprints and all of that on my background. And I've got that for my Alignable group as well. Well, one of the gentlemen said, I have seen you 3 times on other meetings this week, and I've never gotten to be in a breakout room with you, but I recognize your background. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Another guy thought my water drop was an ice cream cone, so he wanted to meet the ice cream lady. That was hysterical. The rest of the story is it's
an ice cream lady. Yeah,
I know, seriously, Kangen ice cream. Instantly, my brain is going, huh? But honestly, I know. And so, but that was my identifier. And I thought, wow. He said, I have seen you 3 different meetings this week, and I have not been able to be in a breakout room with you one time because they pick random. I always love that. And I thought, oh my gosh, he recognized me from my background. And so if you don't use or haven't yet used a Zoom background, how do I create a Zoom background? Now, sometimes your computer is not conducive or compatible to allow a Zoom background unless you have an actual physical green screen behind you. And just like during COVID, if you remember, Amazon, everybody was out of green screens. I've had one actually for years because not all my clients are local. And so I've been Zooming for awfully too long of a time. But the rest of that story is some computers don't accept it. So make sure when you're pushing buttons and looking at settings, if it doesn't light up, it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because your computer does not allow some of the stuff that we talk about.
Yes. I had that. I'm trying to remember the name of the computer. It was attached to Google, but
okay.
I could not get a background. So just a regular computer was, I had to buy a new computer.
I know they've got you completely
thrilled with, but they, now I can do backgrounds.
Oh, and can you even imagine the difference? And for a while, my XSplit VCam thing was not working. I'm sure it was user error, hello. And so all of a sudden, I literally just had my house, my office. And I was like, that is not going to work for me. So needless to say, I got it fixed. But I thought it was cute that gentleman said, I have seen you 3 times and I recognize your background. So it really does matter as far as your identifier, what's up with that. So I do love that. I want to go ahead.
I was going to ask, speaking of, and I'm on the video menu that you're just talking about with the backgrounds and all that. Have you ever used the Corel camera plugin or the Corel screen capture?
No, I have not.
Neither have I. So I don't even know. I guess we'll be pushing buttons later.
Yeah. And yes. And I definitely agree with that. I want to make sure. Okay. But I have not. Where did you found that in the settings?
Yeah, it's in when you hit the little triangle, it pops up and it's right underneath integrated camera.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Okay, because my integrated camera gives original ratio or HD. I don't have the Corel like you do. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's my type of laptop.
I'm sure of it. Because and I appreciate the button pushing, but that's obviously the reason I don't have it. The integrated webcam is something, and as soon as I click on XSplit VCam, if I chose it not to do my camera, it would change my background. But I have
Well, and
original
actually,
ratio.
Carl, I've got a editing system. It's new, and I bet you that's what it is.
I'm sure of it. And plus with all the art that you do, and hello, that is not happening for me. But that is exactly the deal. I don't have that option. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a perfect example. If you don't have something, a lot of times you either haven't uploaded or downloaded it, but you also, maybe your computer is not compatible for that topic. And so please keep that in mind as well, because I actually have had people say, I can't get a background, I can't do this. Is that from Corel that you're doing, Doc?
No, these
Okay.
are just other video backgrounds. I don't have a lot on this, but yeah, there's
Okay.
something that looks familiar.
Yeah. I love the branding. I know. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit, two more things before we say goodbye. The piece for me, again, the user friendly of Zoom is awesome because it's just honestly a matter of pushing buttons. At the very bottom of the screen that you're on, when you're on a Zoom call, please push everything there. It is the coolest thing ever to be able to go, oh, I didn't know it did that, or I didn't know it did that. And every time you learn something, we talked about this earlier at the posting party, every time you learn something, they change it. And just like Doc was saying, as soon as you learn how to do all your editing, they change it. So it really is the same here. So here we're going to go to view. At the very top of every Zoom call is what they call view. And so I want you to click on that. You have to be the host of the call. And so as soon as you open up your Zoom account, you're the host of the call. When you scroll down, it says speaker and gallery and different things, options, and just push buttons to see what they do. The one that I love so much is immersive. And as soon as you click on immersive, it gives you a new opportunity, a new chat, a new everything to be able to change the look of your call. And everybody's like, what do you need that for? Well, if you are used to seeing Zoom calls with the very same this or the very same that, that is probably not what you want to talk about. Doc, let's put this as a thumbnail for the YouTube Smile Pretty. Excellent. So now you guys will actually be able to see this actual picture of us on the thumbnail for our YouTube today for Doc and Queenie classes. Now, how do you work this? I am really sharing all of this because when you're on a call, you can change this as many times as you want. Okay. Push a different button. You can drag and drop people to be in different places, which I think is super cool. So all of a sudden now you want to be able to move folks around. Now, Doc, I don't think as co-host you can move because you are not the one to do immersive, right? You can't drag and drop us. Right. And so the host of the call is the only one that has the immersive feature, and the host of the call is only one that can move people around. But you can now see that we're at the top of by the tree, right? Right. And so you can see the difference. And again, when we took a picture, that's what would show. But why is this important or necessary or whatever? Because we're back to that same drill from a standpoint of changing it up a little bit. Now you've got a picture that you're posting on social media. They don't necessarily care about what the topic is. They're looking to go, how did Doc and Queenie do that? And so now it starts interest, it gets the navigation, it changes the traffic, and perhaps somebody would watch your call differently than they would if it was the same old blah, blah, blah screen.
Or in the kitchen, they have to.
Yeah, what is Queenie doing in the kitchen? That would be a very good question.
Making coffee.
Yeah. Coffee, I will, yes, we can talk coffee. I will do that. Yeah. Yeah, I will talk coffee. And then for me, this is one of my favorites because it's kind of like a boardroom setting. And I take the logo of the group I'm in, the topic or the training or whatever, and put it on the chalkboard, which
Pretty
means
cool.
I've got Miracles with Water logo. And I now
Very
take
cool.
this screenshot and I put the Miracles with Water logo on the chalkboard. And again, PowerPoint, Canva, whatever you use for all of your editing is pretty cool. But the immersive piece for me is a biggie. And all you have to do, once again, is click immersive. And then in this case, leave immersive, push buttons. You can't break anything. Go back to your view tab and switch it around. But you must be the host of the call to be able to do that.
This is pretty cool. I mean, this really gives you a lot of options to keep everybody engaged and make it look professional and, just like you say, push buttons and have fun.
Yeah, that's the favorite part for me. Before we leave today, and again, we could talk about Zoom for 100 years, but oh my gosh, time is flying. There's one more thing I want to share because Doc, you are so great at making your own. In fact, you've made these backgrounds for us as far as your Canvas skills and the Doc and Queenie logo, and Queenie always has a crown on the queue and all the stuff you know how to do. There are those of us who are artistically challenged. And so the cool part is Zoom has thought of everything. Now, when you click on the bottom buttons, and again, all across your navigation bar, and for me, it's on the bottom of my Zoom version, there's an opportunity to click virtual backgrounds as an app. Like you download it and the host of your call, if you don't own your own Zoom account, whoever your owner of your account is, you'd have to say, please allow the app of virtual backgrounds to show. If you own your own Zoom account, you can say app and find the app that you want and download it, and it lets you have it if that's included in your plan. So let's think in terms of garden, okay? And I just typed virtual background garden. And so now, bingo, you got Doc probably have gorgeousness all over the place. And then there's me. And so that's not my gift yet. And so as soon as I click garden, all these fantastic backgrounds come up. And I'm just sitting here going, oh my gosh. And so when somebody's talking about garden, and I remember doing this specifically at Thanksgiving, somebody was talking about the Thanksgiving feast. Let me type that in real quick. And somebody was saying something, are you, first of all, of course, they said, are you cooking? And I was like, have we met? But the rest of the story is they were talking about Thanksgiving. And so now you type in whatever your topic is, and you've got more opportunity for virtual backgrounds. Why does this matter on a scale of 1 to 10? It changes up the call. It keeps the interest going. It allows people, first of all, to participate. But second of all, it keeps people, shall we say, engaged in your call a little bit better. And so now when people do, here's Thanksgiving feast, here's a hot dog barbecue, here's a birthday celebration for a kid, whatever you want to type in. So the virtual background piece is a pretty cool feature, in my opinion. All of a sudden, somebody has a birthday and you wanted, oh, Doc, I'm so excited for your birthday. Now, obviously, December 14th isn't here yet, but now you're able to say happy birthday to Doc. And so you type in a virtual background. Now, we create our own, Doc and I each, of course, but sometimes if we didn't have time or it didn't work out or whatever happened, you can now do birthday or backgrounds just because you downloaded the app on your Zoom account that says virtual backgrounds. And for me, it is really a cool system, if you will, because it lets you actually see different virtual backgrounds depending upon the topic. And then, of course, they let you see which one is more conducive to what you're looking for.
Hawaiian
I know.
wedding.
I know.
Yes.
Isn't that cool? I know. So it really is super awesome. So please go ahead.
I was going to say, so to download the app, do you have to go? And I apologize.
No,
I'm
please.
of course watching all of the backgrounds, and you probably mentioned.
And you probably have to
Like,
recreate it.
wow.
Yeah.
How do you download the app? Do you do that when you're on your Zoom, when you log in on your own login page for Zoom?
For me,
Sure.
I'm on a Zoom call and I click apps while I'm on here and it'll say add more apps. There's a plus sign and you click on that. Which app do you want to add? Some people have used the Kahoot app. Kahoot is a game you can play like quick. What year was Kangen Water founded? 1974. Boom, I just won. What year did Miracles with Water start? 2008. Boom, I just won. So Kahoot is another app, a game for business or anything as far as questions and answers and who wins the most prizes and things like that. So there's all kinds of apps. As soon as you click on the plus sign, it takes you to all places, and then you have those apps. And another one that I use every single week, I get to go to Australia and see Misty Henkel with Business at Breakfast. She's got an international and a second seating every single Wednesday at 4 and 7 Central Time, free. as soon as I do that, I always help with the timing because once again, you can't possibly run a call and be on the call and all of those things yourself. So you click timer, and now you've got the timer app. And then literally people have their 2-second infomercial, their 30-second infomercial, their 10-minute presentation, whatever they're doing. And you now are the timer person, and you can actually,
cool.
and you can actually be the timer for the call. And obviously whoever's doing the timing, you don't have to be a host or a co-host for that. Actually, anyone can do the timing app. It shows up on your Brady Bunch square, yes, but it also lets people know when their time's up, and it goes bling, and it ding, 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 and everything about the time turns red.
It's pretty cool because on that list, at least the list I'm getting, I'm on a free account, so
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if paid accounts get more options for apps,
Okay.
but you've got translation, you've got live streaming, remote settings, group photo, like you just did the timer, you did the virtual background. You can even play music in the background. So
I know that would interest you for sure. Yeah.
and then they have one that says donuts. I don't know if that means that they'll send you some donuts, but I'm not a big donut fan, so
There you go.
I'm more muffins than donuts.
That is beautiful. But see, and I love it that if you are on a free account as well, that you get some of those options. But the timer and the virtual backgrounds, I love, and I use them a lot. And again, it just kind of changes up your call.
Yes.
Doc, there are hours and hours and hours that we could train on Zoom. And
Yes.
I just wanted to hit some of the highlights of some of the stuff I've actually learned when I'm on other calls. And I was out on one the other day, and there were 74 people on. It was a Zoom, not alignable. And there were 74 people on the call because, of course, I paid attention. Down at the bottom of your screen, by the way, where it says participants, it lets you see how many people are on the whole call, so you don't have to keep flipping pages. And so there were 74 people on the call. And I looked at that screen and I thought there was not one co-host. And I thought, how is that poor man trying to possibly navigate that whole thing? He was doing a share screen. He did not know how to do the share sound thing, but I couldn't help him because nobody was a co-host on the call. And so I'm still finding people who are not yet aware of some of the options that they have on Zoom so that they can actually reach out and help other people on their call. So that's why I hope this helps a little bit. There are Zoom tutorials all over the place as far as YouTube, of course, and Zoom itself has options for check out the webinar. They have Zoom trainings. But for me, this is some of the things that I have found in my gazillion years of Zooming, and especially now post-pandemic, we are on Zoom, for me anyway, pretty much all day long.
Yep. No, this has been great. Thank you for doing this, Queenie. It really has opened up some options, and hopefully it's been helpful, whether people have found it live or on the replay.
Yes.
And of course, our time is up. Thank you for being on with us live or on the replay. Doc and Queenie classes is offered once a month on the 4th Wednesday of the month at. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you right back here, Doc and Queenie live on Monday at
Central Time.
Central Time. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend, and thank you, Queenie, for all of this fabulous information.
Thank you, Doc. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.